and a 1 and a boom, 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 boom. It's live. There's no bing, so I don't know when to stop booming. So that's often a problem for me. Yeah, a bit of a late night managing stuff related to my kids' soccer team last night. Got taking up more and more time. If only I was getting paid for that, that would be nice. Anyway, so main things. Yesterday, I spent pretty much the whole time on AV 102, release week 4. That's basically under control. I need to critically do an email to release, let the students know that week 4 is out. We've got this new experimental peer-reviewed pair programming thing going on, and I'm going to have to switch to the MOOC's supposed to go live next Monday, so that's filling up my plate. I've also pushed the sort of a soft launch of the new Agile Ventures blog and put some stuff in that blog, and so I also spent some time sort of clearing up bits and pieces for the AV Static site, for the blog, and so on, and yeah, the website 1, we do have a fix for the sign-up issue that needs cleaning up and put in. We had a great local sport kickoff and retro last night, actually, and we've decided, Piotr was there, and we've decided to experiment with having points for bugs and chores in Pivotal Tracker, which is something we've avoided doing for a long time, but in the Agile way, it seemed like there was a need for it. Well, let's try it out for a week or two and see how it goes. Yeah, so nothing major blocking. Just need to get my head in shape and get on with all of this stuff. Yeah, Piotr, how are things going with you?
Yeah, so okay, I still have time till 1st of June when I start my job, because Thomas, I already decided.
Piotr has a job.
Oh, you already decided? Okay, all right.
For Berlin. So,
oh, you decided for Berlin. Okay, I didn't understand that. All right, that clarifies something. All right.
So, so I still have time, and I will be engaged here. So I just have to find a new small icon for for local support, and then I start some new thing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure if you want me to choose myself, or you may recommend me something from the tasks that we have.
Yeah, well, we can certainly have a look at it together at the end of the Scrum. That's always a good thing. Yeah, so nothing technical blocking you at the moment, Piotr, and otherwise looking good.
There was some comment of yours on the pull request for a friendly ID that I didn't understand. So
okay, well maybe we'll look at that together at the top of the Scrum. Good show, excellent. Yeah, Thomas, how are things at your end?
I'm all good. What am I doing? I'm writing documentation about middleman, actually.
Yes.
So,
yes.
and deploying it. So basically, yeah, the AV stuff. Yeah, I had this little conversation about my personal experience a few days. When was it? Was it yesterday or the day before? And that was so. I only had like 3 people in there. Mostly 2 of them were my students, but we had a good conversation, or at least I get some stuff off my chest. It was like a therapy session. But it seems like some people have actually taken the time to watch it. We got like 25 or something views on that, so I guess that's cool. And today I'm home with this little guy.
Hey,
hello.
Hey there.
Let's get to hey.
What's the Gigi? Hey Gigi. Hey Gigi. Gigi. Hello.
Gigi.
So Piotr, we call him Gigi because in Polish, a small baby called Gigiusz. So we just started to say Gigiusz, and that became Gigi, and now he's 2.5, and
that's his nickname.
Yeah, so that's his nickname nowadays.
And the funny thing is that Gigi in Japanese means a grandfather.
Oh, really?
Which is just one of those coincidences.
Well, I think somebody, when we were out for dinner once, some Turkish waiter heard me say Gigi, and I think that Gigi actually means something pretty boy in Turkish or something like that.
Oh, really? There we go.
Yeah, well, but basically that's my report. Gigi, could you please? Yes. Anyway, so what I will be trying to do is to host another conversation like this, and I think it's really good for, or at least I hope it's good for new members to meet up with me, you perhaps, or some other old timers just not to talk about some projects or this and that, but just talk about the community and the experiences we've had, and and I guess, I mean, Piotr would be a very good example of a member that comes in, works a little bit during a process of looking for work, and and talking a little bit about the benefits of doing open source projects and in the framework of Agile Ventures, for instance, blah blah blah. So I think it's good because it could be an eye opener for a lot of people.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, I'd say, yeah, I watched the whole video, and it was.
Oh, you did? Okay,
yeah, I did, and it was great to see, great to hear also, some of the extra details of your perspective on that, and I think, yes, very valuable for the AV1 and 2 people. Yeah, more things like that. I think certainly, if we can get people like Piotr to sort of, share their perspective. I mean, it's interesting because I think one of the challenges we do face is people's sense of embarrassment or intimidation about getting involved. I don't know. I think it's an ongoing exploration that we're all doing about what is the most effective way to reach out to more people and let them know what they can get of value out of Agile Ventures. Yeah, I mean, that's the real trick, isn't it? And I think we'll keep on pivoting and rotating and trying, like the videos, sessions, what it is that we can do to let people know. Yeah. Good stuff. So, go on.
Yeah,
I didn't have any doubts from the beginning that it is valuable. So when I found out about it, so I thought it is valuable.
Yeah, that's good. That's good to hear. And but I guess the interesting thing that Piotr is that I think you seem like a very confident young man. You were happy to come into the hangouts and start chatting and so on. I think for some people, maybe all 3 of us here, we're somewhat extroverts, is the words, and we're quite outgoing, chatty people. I think there's a lot of people who that doesn't come so naturally to them, and there's people who I don't know. We've got we need to, if we're going to grow, then we want to cater to the range of different personality types and try and support them all. Yeah. Interesting question. Anyway, well, that's the stand-up. I guess Piotr and I, we could look at the local sport. I guess I was just going to say to Thomas, I had a few interesting also meetings just off the back of different scrums with different people, talking about ways in which to sort of increase the amount of pairing going on. One thing that I know you saw the Agile Ventures Premium. I mean, actually, I sort of wrote that and pushed it out to you. I added to that this idea of a Premium Plus concept, which I just was going to bring to your attention. I was showing it to Piotr yesterday. I just added a little note of this idea of a Premium Plus, where you'd kind of get the Agile Ventures Premium, but then for an additional level, you could get a certain number of hours of pair programming per month, and you could potentially pay for additional hours of pair programming. This sort of came out of the back of a discussion of actually Puneet and Raj were there, and they were sort of saying, if you could rely upon certain, senior AV members, AV mentors, shall we say, being available at certain times, then that would kind of, make it more likely that the pairing would take place. Because they were kind of saying, like, oh, we need to know, a couple of days in advance that there's somebody going to sort of be there. And I was saying, well, that's difficult for people to sort of lock down their schedules. Whereas I think if the with a payment thing, then potentially senior AV people would say, yeah, if you're gonna if this is now a paid session, then I'd make my time available. I don't know what you think of that idea.
In theory, it sounds great. I can see some planning, pitfalls, with people saying, I want to schedule this, and you and I are on vacation or doing something else, and they can, they can lead to some frustration. So I think we have to think about the rules or terms and conditions, etc. But generally, I think it's a cool idea. Although,
go on.
What I'm thinking about and what we need to validate is whether this this price level
Yes,
is something
absolutely.
that can be accepted. But you know, as a starting point, absolutely, just let's go for this and see where we end up. Absolutely.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, so, but I mean, part of my angle there going forward is, I mean, we're sort of more focused on the static site at the moment because that seems like we can sort of just get that cleaned up, and then that's something that can maybe be used to bring in some non-profit customers. But yeah, what I'm hoping to do is with the move, and then sort of switch to like at least getting some payment framework in there so that people can and just try out some price points and see if we, you know, and as that works or not. Anyway, so just keeping you in the loop there. Okay, well, unless there's anything else that we need to work out, do let me know if there's anything I can do for CA, you know, the students, what have you. I'm sure you won't hesitate to reach out. Otherwise, I guess Piotr and I will look at the local support project.
Absolutely. All right, take it easy, guys.
All right, good to see you, Thomas. Take care.
Dobra, gratuluję jeszcze raz, Piotrek. Naprawdę wspaniale, że dostałeś do pracy. Okej, no, ciao.
Też się cieszę.
Ciao.
Okay, so yeah, let's have a little. So, well, now first you were saying, Piotr, that there's maybe some comments in the local support. I haven't had a chance to, actually, for the first time in like about 3 months, I've rebooted my computer this morning, and like just something, it just builds up. I get this sort of whole, you know, I'm so.
But it's working.
It's all working now. Yeah, I had to go and like sit down without computer for 20 minutes and do some other stuff while it rebooted and loaded up all the updates. But yes, so there was this. Was there a comment in here?
Yeah, like here there was this one with mocks, a double function.
Yes. Okay, yes. Well, this was interesting. Yeah, so that you were using this because Michael and I had been working on the bug for website 1 with the same set of code. So you see here, so this line here. I mean, have you used this kind of functionality in RSpec before? Is that something you're already quite familiar with?
I just seen it. I haven't been using it much, but I just read the way how it's used on the same documentation that you linked there.
Right. Indeed. Well, and the interesting thing is that what Michael and I were seeing as we were using some similar functionality is there's this difference here between, I mean, if you have, as they have it here, if you have a string in here, what happens is that the Ruby system, it uses this name to kind of look up and find the actual class. And so you can also pass just the class name without the quotes.
And it works.
Also works. However, there is a subtle difference. There is a subtle difference in that there's this concept of a verifying double. You'll notice actually here it says here verifying doubles.
Yeah.
Like this. But then it doesn't actually particularly mention I guess it does verify. Yeah. This sort of verification process is doing a little bit more than just a normal double. So if we have actually, I guess I can just do this. Can I get a terminal? And you can actually you know, like in IRB, this is not commonly done, but you can do, I think you can do things like this. You can actually pull, I think, RSpec in, and then you can do things like, let's say D equals, let's make this a bit bigger. D equals, you can just sort of create a double and say, let's say that we're going to have a double of, I don't know, like a bike or something. Like so. Is it not double anymore? Oh, do I need to pull? No, I'm getting sidetracked. So RSpec in IRB, I think I have to. There's like a. I have to pull like a namespace in or something. How to use RSpec expectations in IRB? There we go. Here we go. I got to, include RSpec matches or it's include. Oops, I think I've done something weird there. Hold on. So let's do require RSpec include RSpec. Is it doubles or mocks? Do they call it?
Mocks, I think.
Let's just try that. Okay, yeah. So now can I do D equals double? Let's put hat. No, still. Yeah, I guess interestingly here. So that's like an old thing. If we do the matches. like so, can I do expect, I don't know, 1, 2 equal 1? Yes. Use the matches. Oh, it's not. Is it RSpec mocks? It's like use RSpec doubles in IRB. And then, okay, here we go.
Strange.
Like that. Yeah. Okay, there we go. So we can have a hat, you know, and I can say something like, oh, I want to wear the hat. And it will complain, you know, that it hasn't received this message because basically we've made a stunt double that can't handle, you know, hat wearing. So if we could now redefine it so that hat has a method wear that returns true, I can now say wear like this, and it works. But, I mean, you're familiar with the doubles. This is sort of a standard sort of double, a mock. The difference, as you're probably aware, with these ones here is that now we're saying, like, let's make you know, a double out of something else. So there's the instance double and the class double. But so we could make here, we could say like string is equal to, we could just do double, you know, string if we wanted to pretend to have something, and it would just be a standard stunt double. But if we do this here, if we say like now instance double like this, and we say that that's going to be, so here it doesn't matter if we do like a string or
string
like this, they both work. So we can do this, right? And then we could say like string, I think, is it length like that? I don't know, what is it? Size. Oh no, I need to. No, do I need to also do from here instance double? I don't know, and maybe this will all not work, and I will look silly. Let me just think. I can do like I've done an instance double. Yes, I do length from here. What I had thought was supposed to happen here, and it hasn't quite worked, and I'm not sure why. I don't know if there's a different kind of thing that I have to load here in order to get this to do it in IRB. But in principle, if I make this instance double from string, it will complain if I try and call a method that doesn't already exist on the string class, if you know what I mean. And so that hasn't worked there. Anyway, that's my apologies, my failure there to show you in IRB how that works. But the idea of this verifying double is that rather than just being a standard double that will fail except for the ways in which you stub it, the verifying double will check whether the underlying class has that method. Did that make sense? Yeah. And so there's then this subtle thing here. They've got it in here. Basically, if you're using the string when you pass in, that verification behavior will only take place if this config setting is in place. Whereas if you use the full name without the quotes, then you'll get that verification behavior for free.
Okay, so you don't need to then specify as stubbed const.
Yes, at least that's what we were experiencing yesterday in the website one project. And so then there's a question of like, well, okay, which one should we do? I guess it seems to me that, you know, writing these things, this is the question why it doesn't work here, but sort of writing this is more characters. Like, it may be a trivial thing, but like if I can avoid the need for a setting, which I might forget, and I can have fewer characters in my line here, then that seems like the way to go.
Okay, so I think it's enough for me. So I'll try it and then I'll change it. Okay?
Yes. Oh, absolutely. Yes. Sorry, the explanation there went on a bit too.
No, I just don't want also to waste your time because.
No, sure. Yes. No. Well, and it's easy. It's easily done because, you know, I can get, as I was talking the other day, I can start playing with something like this, and then I could just be playing and playing and playing, and it goes on and on. But yeah, so that's. But I wouldn't be surprised. I'm always open for the idea. Maybe I'm going to read a ThoughtBot article on why this is much better at some point in the future, and we might change back to that. But yeah, that was the background for for this.
Okay. Now I understand.
Yeah, cool.
And I changed the test, so I moved it to string spec RB.
Yeah, so both will
and the
work.
method also to the string RB. So
Excellent. I'll just put in a little note there based on Yes, so in fact, well, if I just quickly review the code, maybe we can even merge this in. So here, yes, so we have our little service.
I think okay. I now remember. I may add one more little test for one method.
Okay.
Because I moved down case words from private back to public, so
okay.
I didn't write test for that.
Right. Yeah,
so
interesting.
Maybe I'll do that now. Because it wasn't working. I put it to private, but in fact I was using it as public. So.
Yes.
And what's funny, after that, half of specs were failing.
Oh, really? Yes. So half of the specs were failing when you had something that was changing the public and private status in the string.
Yeah, when I moved down case words method to private.
Okay.
Half of all the specs. So like
right. Okay. Obviously,
were failing.
Right. A lot of things relying on that. Yes. So some very minor tips then here that I changes I could even make for. I just noticed here. So we've got room for drying out here. So this could be. So could pull this out to explicit subject. So you could have, you know, a line where you had subjects. And it's kind of like it was like short name, or even org short name, and then like this.
But for each scenario, it will be different.
Well, but you've got 3 scenarios here where it's the same.
Okay.
I mean, you're calling short name.
It's free. Okay.
On each of those 3. So you could do is you could create a context for that. Like this, and say this is the short name context, or what have you, and then then you'd have your tests, and then in the context.
But I am setting up the org before in each scenario differently. So
okay. Yes.
I'm first setting a new string, and then I'm using the method.
Okay. Yeah. Good point. Right. Yes. I mean, I guess in that case, almost I would. But okay, wait a second. We're here. This is in the string spec, so I think that the. Okay, no. So we're. So forgive me. Sorry, I just get grappling with the code. Yes. So we're setting up a string, right? And then the string we're concatenating it to be this thing. Yeah, I would almost. Okay, so you're kind of taking an empty string and then you're concatenating a thing in there, and I would almost say here that then this is sort of surplus to requirements in that what we what I would almost be tempted to do here is adjust this. So yeah, so forget about a good change to. So forget about explicit subjects. We could almost here just have this so that the expectation was expect this dot short name.
Yeah, okay, I understand.
Yeah, I'm just making that over like so.
Yeah, it will be shorter.
That would be much shorter.
But then after I have really long names, and it will be a really long line.
Yeah,
if I do that.
Right. I mean, there I would almost be tempted, possibly to introduce so that the interesting thing here is you're using the term slug here outside of the context in which slug actually means anything. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay. I understand.
Because we're now in the context of a string, and although we'll be using these things for slugs.
Yeah, I just put it here because I wanted to show that it's used for making flags. That's
yeah. Well, that's an interesting idea. There is like, is you can argue that, well, we've moved this functionality in here because it was all related to slugs, and so we want to kind of let people know that, you could think, oh, I want to let people know that that's why we did it. At the same time, if we're kind of moving the functionality into a string class, what we're actually trying to say is this is functionality that's independent of slugs, if you know what I mean. So there's, I'd almost be tempted to work out something like this. So if you're getting long, strings, what I would be tempted to do here is be saying something like subject string, and then, having that defined on a single line. And then we've got something like this, like that, and you could have then the context, for whatever, do, and then it. I mean, just as equally, I guess, rather than the subjects end up, is that it would be simpler to have string, this string equals this. In the it blocks might be.
Yeah.
I mean, with all of these things, I'm always right. There's a danger of overthinking things. I think that one's. Let's put that in there. What do you think of that? Yeah, just edit that to. I think obviously you've been working on this one for a while, and so don't worry too much. I can always just kind of come in and play around with it afterwards. Yes. Yeah. Cool. It's interesting, and so I guess you've got these two things in here as private things because they're
used like not on instances; they are used separately
internally within those things. Interesting. Yeah, interesting. Okay, well, I think that's probably.
And also because then that way I had less tests.
Sure. Yes, indeed. Well, and if these are the kind of, I guess there's like at the top level, we've got, what is it? Or at least our service is exposing these three methods.
Yeah.
Right. These are the three methods that we're making available. So short name, longer name, and append org. So absolutely, those are the things that should be exposed and should be. It's interesting that you. Anyway, there's clearly more thinking one could do, but I think we've got to the point where it's we're in danger. Certainly I'm in danger of overthinking it. So yeah, this is well done for this. But yeah, so you said there's like a couple of minor changes you want to make, and then we can merge it in. Yeah.
Okay, so I'll do that now.
Okay.
So I have just this small icon thing, the dot, red dot. I'll find it and I'll make some new version of it, and then I don't have anything more. So maybe we could choose something.
Yes, indeed, and we could just have. So what we were doing yesterday, or we started doing yesterday, was now making these things, in some kind of order. Was there? So if we have a look through this, so I think the first two here, the things that I've got to work on. I can give input. It was somebody. It wasn't you who was asking for Ernest at Marilyn, so I'll respond to him separately. So there's kind of, that's something that you could be investigating, this, the Billy Cache files implying we have a leak, particularly if you're seeing on your system when you run the full test. Are you seeing this when you run the full test suite, that you're seeing occasionally new files in the VCR cassettes?
Yeah, I left them now in my git ignore.
Really? Okay. That's kind of, ideally they shouldn't be in the git ignore. We should be kind of trying to batten that down. Although I think if you're not interested in it, don't worry about it. Again, this is kind of like.
So Billy is VCR?
Well, sorry, not the Billy. There's two Billy cache files. If we look at local support for me. And in some ways here, this should probably be, I guess it should be lower priority. Let me get status there. So we've got these two things. Here they are. We've got the VCR cassettes. Sorry, that's VCR. And then we've got the request cache.
Ah, yeah, that I had as well.
Yeah. So anytime anything is sort of changed or created here, that implies that there's been a network request. And to the extent that that network request is made again, that might be a network request that will be made by our CI, which is not ideal. It's a sort of an external dependency for our system. Although I think many projects get away and they just, they hit Google Maps or Twitter or what have you, So here, what we've got here with this request cache, basically, this, and it may just be an evolving way of Google Maps. It's sort of, there's this phrase snark hunt, when you're hunting for things that don't really exist. And it's like, is this really a big issue? What should happen here is that all of the kind of things that potentially vary on this, because we don't really care for running the Cucumber tests in their fake browser exactly how the map is displaying, as long as the functionality is there. But we've got in where is it? It's going to be our features, in our support, in our it's not VCR. We've got that, and so. Like in principle, if I was working on fixing this, you see, we have this ignore params. So this, in principle, this should be being handled. I guess we've got status 403, JavaScript API. I mean, there's something that could be investigated there. At the same time, our tests are kind of passing. So I'd say it's probably kind of low priority. And that's the kind of thing. Go on.
Do you think also sometimes the Google, like you have the message that the over limit request from Google Maps geocode? Do you think it's somehow connected?
Conceivably, although interestingly in this thing, we're getting a 403 and it's saying the Google Maps JavaScript API must be downloaded directly from Google's servers, and I don't know if this implies some issue with the fact that we're using a proxy for Billy to do this. It may be that, the way that Google is serving their map, has changed, and actually we kind of, at some point, I guess sensibly, we completely delete the request cache and we reload, in order to cope with those things. But that's kind of a, it's sort of a kind of a station keeping kind of thing. It's an interesting question there about how much effort should we be putting in to anticipate potential problems versus waiting until the problem actually occurs. Do you know what I mean?
So you're thinking about the priority of this.
Yeah, and I'm thinking that the priority is probably relatively low. It's the kind of thing where if you were interested in this caching and so on, sure, it's something that you could be looking into. But I guess what I'm going to do, because by having it here, it implies that it's quite a high priority. So I'm just going to pull that into the icebox. If it will let me, I'll put a sign in. The interesting thing is that, and there's an ongoing thing here. Like we had some problems both in the local support and website one projects where our acceptance tests would fail kind of randomly, and that's kind of generally a bad thing. That sort of random fail. And I had, in a process of adding Billy and VCR, this actually was Mago had done a lot of it. I'd encouraged him to do it. We seem to lock down that variability in local support, and our tests, I mean, you can tell me if it's on your system as well, the tests seem to run, there's not random failures all over the place, is there, with the tests?
No, there used to be sometimes, but now I guess not.
Yeah, I mean, so maybe it's sort of stable. So, and I had thought that the by using VCR and Billy Cash had been partly that it had solved that. Although who knows? It's difficult sometimes to know. I did the same thing in website 1, and it didn't seem to have the same effect. But maybe the problems in website 1 were different. So it's the kind of, it's almost like if that started happening again, then this would suddenly become higher priority, because I think it's related, but I might be wrong. So anyway, as usual, I'm probably going on too long. There's an interesting bug here. Yeah, but there's an interesting, now this user not linked with organization, this is quite an interesting one. I'll just mention, and it kind of relates to our clients trying to work through the admin interface, and I kind of I added some screenshots there and so on. And so what we have here is we have like a real instance of our actual, our most important clients using the system and being a little bit confused. And in particular, there's something here about the way in which the client is sort of managing the system, if you know what I mean. Let me just see if I can log in as the admin, because she gets these emails occasionally. Like in this case, what did she got? She had, but she's listed as a user. She doesn't seem to be linked. It's like, I think she had invited a user, and then there was just something. Yeah, there was something about the user didn't appear to be in the state that they thought that they should be, and the client was coming into the admin thing and looking at registered users, and her process for trying to find what was going on, she has to like click this twice to get the pending ones to the top, and just this, that, and the other. There was like confusion on her part, and it implies that the system is maybe difficult to use. Does that make any sense at all?
Not yet.
No. Well, and maybe I guess there's this. Let me just. I will sort of say this, and then we'll move on. There's this temptation when you build a software system and you build an interface, is having built it, you know how to use it, and then when someone else comes to use it and they can't find something or they have a problem, there's a temptation to say, oh, they didn't know how to use the system correctly. Do you know what I mean?
So this bug is about more like how is it visible for a user, not that something not working, or is it?
Well, that's what we don't know. I mean, at some level, there's this thing of, it's like, and I don't know if this is going to make any sense, but I think this is also like a really important concept for the development of software systems, is that for any user of a system, they have a kind of model in their head of how it should work. And then there's like how it actually works. And to the extent that those two things match, then the user can use the system effectively. So yeah, it's not clear here if there is, the problem is in the system is doing something wrong, or the expectation of the user is incorrect. But the bottom line is that kind of, we need to, if we're doing agile development, which we are, we need to evolve the system to support the user.
Okay.
So, and for which we need to understand kind of like, what's the way in which the user is trying to use the system? What's the expectation? And we can suggest alternatives. And anyway, so this is potential. I'd say this is potentially quite a complex thing. Not necessarily, the fix might actually be simple. It might just be a question of like changing the defaults of some ordering, or who knows. But the complex thing in this bug is kind of working out what happened and what's going on. So if that interests you, that user experience, then that would be perfectly good one to take on. But it might be like, no, just give me something that's a bit simpler.
Let's do it.
Yeah? There you go. Okay. So let's. Should we just have since we're voting on these things, should we just have a quick?
Vote?
And it's just you and I. Should we just have a very
Okay.
quick vote on what we think about this thing? So we'll do voting on. So first voting on a bug, voting on this. Yeah. So you know the deal. Any questions, or should we just go straight to the vote?
No, we can go.
Okay. All right. 3, 2, 1, go. Aha. Yes.
So
go on.
maybe you have a better knowledge about this, but I thought it's. You told me that it might be a little fix. I also seen the description that there is something that's probably in the wrong order, but I'm not sure what's the problem. So maybe in my opinion on points here is inadequate.
I think it, and it's a judgment call there. I think it's, when I say that it might be a really simple fix, it also might be really complex. It might turn out that there is some, in order to adjust the system to support the user in the best way, we might be looking at, like a little bit as I am with that email validations, actually there's like a major change that's required. And we might kind of decide even, well, because it's so major, we can't do that, and we'll do with a simple fix that's not perfect or what have you. But I guess partly because of just the unknown aspect of it, I'm generally be tempted to push it onto the, the more, be more conservative and say, let's go for a 3, because if it's better to like sort of say it's more complex and then be surprised that it turns out to be a simple one than to say, I think it's not going to be that hard, and then it turns out to be harder. Do you know what I mean?
Okay, so I agree then.
Cool. All right. Yeah, let's pop that in as a 3, and yeah, cool. Now there. Yeah. Cool.
So just one simple question about the pivotal tracker. So the thing about points, and if it's 1, 2, 4, 8, or 1, 2, 0, 1, 2, 3, that depends from us. You can choose. Yeah.
Yes, just up to us, basically, as a team. Okay. Well, there's a setting in the pivotal tracker where we can make the point scale be all sorts of different things, or be custom, or what have you. To be honest, I'm not sure that there's. I think if we were working full time with a large team, we might start experimenting with those things. I think that seemed to have worked pretty well. We've just started this experiment of giving bugs and chores points, so I think probably we want to see how that goes before we would experiment with
strongly discouraged.
Well, indeed. Well, of course, strongly discouraged, and that's what we were talking about yesterday. I mean, it may be, and I'd sort of obeyed that warning, but I think we're maybe in a different situation than many full-time teams using the tracker.
But we are not looking at velocity here.
Not really. I mean, because it's we're not in the situation that if we fail to meet some deadline, then the client is going to just
kill us
or anything. I mean, the obviously we want to sort of deliver the stuff, but it's done. But the interesting thing here is that if I now reflect back on the reasons that Pivotal Tracker say don't assign points to chores and things, is the help documentation link is now out of date, so I can't find the original thing. What they had been saying is that if you put 2 stars on this and then it generates 3 bugs and 3 chores, that actually should kind of be rolled into the 2 points of this, so that if you then similarly make another story and you say 2 points, then that should be.
It's falsificating the velocity still, so it's not falsificating the difficulty of each task. Maybe no.
Well, I mean, I guess that it's interesting. It's kind of, I guess what they're trying to do is, by saying only put the points on the stories, but even as I try and explore it now in my mind, it doesn't quite make sense. I mean, it's sort of, if this turned out to have generated 3 bugs, those 3 bugs still have to be fixed, and that still takes time. I don't know, but that I mean, it seems to me like if we can, like at the moment, that this is saying, okay, like this is the first time we've put this thing in here, right? I mean, we're still in principle using the velocity in as much as that we could be looking at these dates. It just seems like if we've got a lot of chores that need to be done before this happens, then that date is, not really relevant. And anyway, I think we're experimenting with it, and we'll see what happens. Yeah, it comes back to we're not pinning, like this hundreds of people's jobs on whether this happens to be released on this date. The more important for us is probably for people coming into the project, is this an easy or a difficult chore or bug that I can, and so that's, anyway.
So one more question, because I'm going to reread the chapter about bugs, handling bugs in the book. I don't have the new book, this new version.
No.
So do you know if there are many changes in this chapter?
I don't think that there are significant changes in that section. What you could do is you could be looking at. What we could be doing, that is, you could be going to the thing on Amazon.co.uk and looking inside, and will it let us actually jump to? You can do search inside, and you could search for some text in that section and then have a look at it. But yeah, I would say, that. Well, let us jump to it's 4.5. We're debugging when things are wrong. There we go. No, we won't let us get that far. I think definitely you should be. The main things that are changing are, it's being updates to RSpec and so on. So this generic stuff about bug solving, I think, should be fine in the previous edition.
Okay, so and also I read in the book about your story, your life story.
Oh, really?
So you are in fact physicist. How do you call it? Physicist, yeah.
Yes. Originally, that was my first degree.
Okay, nice. So why don't you go to space?
Well, that was my original dream. I would love to have gone to space. I think I discovered when I was about 20, I was at the World Space Congress in America, that as a British person, my chances to get into space were very, very, very small compared to the American. Although a couple of British people have now done it, but I kind of, at 20, I just kind of, I felt like, wow, I could spend the next 20 years training for this and still never get it, because it's like, 1 or 2 people out of 70 million get to do it, and I didn't want it quite that much. Do you know what I mean? I guess I find the process.
You didn't want to sacrifice your whole life to that.
Yeah. I mean, I think also, my vision isn't perfect, and there was a certain this sort of checklist for things for people to become astronauts, and I think I don't meet, several of them. And I do have a friend actually in the States who has, basically that's her dream, and she's American, and she's got kind of close, and she's run sort of simulated Mars camps and this, that, and the other, and it's like I can see her doing that, and I kind of, it's kind of fun. I think ultimately, and this was the thing towards the end of my astrophysics degree, was I got really interested in neural networks and computers, and I just, like, moment to moment, I find the process of working with computers absolutely fascinating, and the question of intelligence and how people learn, and ultimately, building systems that work is kind of like, wow, that's actually really hard, and that continues to stimulate me on a moment by moment basis. Whereas, going into space as a kind of thing, like, comes from just having watched Star Wars as a kid, as, oh, it would be cool to fly the Millennium Falcon. It doesn't really come from a moment to moment, oh, actually being in space would be fun. Do you know what I mean? Or training for being into space.
Probably it wouldn't be so much fun.
Very possibly not. That's right. I mean, it's about, I think it's about, making sure that the experience of life moment to moment is fun, rather than just having some arbitrary goal and doing lots of unpleasant things to achieve the goal. That, why did you want to do that in the first place?
Yeah, there are some philosophies connected to that you need your dream come true, and only the big sacrifice can bring you to great things and so on. But I don't believe in it.
Well, and it's, I think, indeed, there's sort of, and that's a life choice for everybody. It's like, do you want to be great, or do you want to have fun? You know, or I mean, do you want to, and do you want to contribute to the community and the society? And I think, for me now, I mean, this is the trick now. If I can make Agile Ventures, which is sort of as an enterprise for education and also helping society at in these both sides, if I can make that into a sustainable thing, that for me will be a far bigger achievement than having got into space. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a really nice idea. So in fact, when I learned about it, I thought it was already sustainable. There are so many projects, and it's connected with the cores and everything. So
look, I think it's got some elements in it, and I think I mean, I've gone off and I've been doing other full-time stuff, and I've come back to it. And I think we do have. It's interesting how certain projects like OSRA or Met Plus were sustained for a certain, and Met Plus is ongoing. OSRA was very stable, and then petered out. It's yes, but hopefully your contribution has been fantastic, and hopefully with your help and the help of others, we can turn it into something where I think it's just it's not that it isn't sustainable part-time. It can sort of tinkle on like so on, but I think in order to really provide this sort of support to large numbers of people, we need like 2 or 3 full-time staff who are just making sure that the lights are on, kind of thing. So anyway, I've great speaking to you as always, Piotr. As regards that task, I think, excuse me, a complicated one. Feel free to ask lots of questions about, like have a read, of the different bits and pieces. There's probably a video where we've got the client talking about it. So I'd say, don't rush to necessarily make changes. I think it's the initial thing is sort of an investigation of trying to understand what's going on. So
just reviewed. So probably there should be video from 8th of March.
Yes, very possibly. Yeah, which we can probably track down. Yeah. Anyway, you've got a few other things to do in the first place, but we'll chat about this, as it comes up. Yeah.
Okay then. So thank you for the session again.
Thank you. Well, thank you. All right. I'll see you soon. Bye for now.
Bye bye.
Cheers.